Hello everybody, welcome back. Very excited to talk about the book today because we are talking about Philip Pullman's The Book of Dust, La Belle Sauvage. Now, I'm pretty sure most of you know that this is a prequel to Philip Pullman's best-selling epic, much-loved trilogy, His Dark Materials. His Dark Materials was published in the early 90s, but The Book of Dust was published at the tail end of last year. And like so many others, I adored His Dark Materials, this extraordinary science fiction fantasy which saw the world we lived in from completely different angles as we followed a world controlled by the church and religious extremism, and how this young girl Lyra goes on to change the world, the universe, and everything as we know it. Yay! So not only do you have this massive burden of Philip Pullman's epic trilogy, you just have this sort of, what more can you bring? What more can you bring to something that was so fully fleshed out and had such a perfect beginning, middle and end? So I was sort of had mixed feelings when I approached the Book of Dust, because I was sort of, yay, I want to get back to the world of Lyra, and oh, you know that feeling you had when the Star Wars prequels came out, going, is this going to be as good as the iconic trio? Is this going to sort of diminish their greatness? Well, as you can probably tell by my face, I loved the Book of Dust. It was a real thrill, and if you've read His Dark Materials, you'll know that Philip Pullman really combines the magic of science and humanity, and every character has nuance and depth, and there's mystery and there's adrenaline, and all those skills, all that talent is present in the Book of Dust. So, where are we in the Book of Dust? Well, it is literally a prequel, for in His Dark Materials we start with Lyra when she's about 12, 13 years old. Here she is a baby, she is a newborn. There are rumours of this baby arriving at the convent in Oxford where she's being protected by nuns. The local community here whispers of this baby. Who is this baby that is being cared for by the nuns? Normally they wouldn't think anything of it, but this presence of the baby in town has brought a lot of spies and assassins to town. And we see this particularly through the local inn and the young boy that works at the local inn called Malcolm. We have the church police state, the people coming in to check that everyone is obedient and in line with church philosophy. We have spies, we have government agents, all entered into this inn and all asking questions about the baby. Now, Malcolm happens to know that there is a baby because as much as he works at the inn, he also is a helping hand at the convent, and where he is friends with the elderly nuns. And so he knows about Lyra and develops a really strong attachment to this young baby, an urge to protect her from whatever is coming her way, even though he has no comprehension of what is going on. Now, we get to see familiar faces. Lord Asriel makes an appearance, Mrs. Coulter makes an appearance too, and we have all the usual sort of demons and the word of dust and the golden compasses. So all those little familiar threads start appearing. But what this really is a story about Malcolm, because there is a sudden and profound event that changes things in Oxford, and Malcolm finds himself being the sole carer of baby Lyra. He and his young friend Alice, who also works at the inn, take it upon themselves to keep baby Lyra safe from what they don't know, but they have already understood that she's a baby of immense importance and must be protected. And they set on an adventure to take her back to Lord Asriel and on to Jordan College, which of course is where we find Lyra at the beginning of His Dark Materials many years down the line. This is a glorious book because we've never heard of Malcolm and Alice before, these two young kids really that work at the inn. You get the feeling that we could be in the realm of self-sacrifice here, because Malcolm and Alice, you feel, aren't going to make it across the trilogy. So you have this really being brought into a world that you know, but with characters that you don't know, and whose ending that you're not sure is going to be entirely positive, because we know where Lyra ends up, but we don't know where all the people who are protecting her will end up. This is a wonderful book. It blends that science and human element again. There is nuance, there are surprises, there are twists and turns. It's very exciting. It doesn't burden itself necessarily with the theories around dust and parallel universes, which come obviously a lot later, but it really is caught up in what it is to be a rebel against the state, to what it is to know when the state is wrong, and know what it is to be doing something that is right. And the curiosity of youth, which Philip Pullman obviously had in Lyra, he now injects into Malcolm and Alice. That curiosity of youth, the bravery of youth, the instinct of youth to know what is wrong and right. I absolutely loved the Book of Dust. You are going to have to read his Dark Materials before, because obviously the great thrill of reading a prequel is you know what's coming for certain elements farther down the line. We know why Lyra is important, even though Malcolm and Alice do not. But yes, oh my goodness, to revisit their world is a thrill, and I'm so glad that Philip Pullman has executed at such a high level again, because it does not diminish his Dark Materials, it only enhances it, and that's amazing. Philip Pullman's His Dark Materials. Oh, Philip Pullman, the Book of Dust, La Belle Sauvage. Read his Dark Materials first though, eh? Fabulous.